started my journey at what looked like a bar with airplanes at it. I then received a boarding pass, written in pen. As I sauntered out to my flying minibus, I tried not to think about the last time this aircraft was in for maintenance. And just like that, my little plane was off to a coastal town called Dongriga. When I arrived, there were two things that struck me: the beauty of the water and these planes taking off right over my head. I remained somewhat hopeful that this would not be my runway upon my departure. Surely they must have another runway that doesn't dive off a cliff. This was my little boat to take me out to the island, chartered by the good folks over at MS-13. And here it is, my own private island. The island was cool, small, and about a mile long, and that was just right. The visibility there made diving awesome and also compelled me to stay on my paddleboard as I could see every shark and ray that swam underneath me. Chartering this boat was also a welcome luxury. They had plenty of booze and let me play my music from my phone over the entire speaker system. Although these guides also dressed like members of MS-13, they were super helpful and never even made me take any barracudas off the hook. The color of the water is something I can't even convey via video. It was absolutely gorgeous. I don't think I've been anywhere in the world just yet with that color water. I could watch it all day. When it came time to depart the island, however, I ran into an issue. Namely, they wouldn't let me leave. So I was left to my own devices and decided that I would have to steal this boat. So that's what I did. Once I arrived at the mainland, I played an awesome game of pickup soccer with the local kids until there was a shooting right there in the middle of the park. At that point, I decided it was time to get a hotel. I found this little gem right on the beach, and it was great for a few hours until it started on fire. And I mean completely on fire. I grabbed my gear and found refuge in this hammock out on the dock. No complaints from me. I'm sure there are many worse places to hide from a fire. However, I couldn't help but again notice that every departing flight was taking off from the cliff runway, which, yep, plunged right into the ocean should you not get airborne in time. I managed to forget about the runway of death for a little bit, but as I was standing there, plastic boarding pass in hand, some guy grabbed me and pulled me out of line and told me I would be flying up front with the captain. I hesitated briefly and then thought to myself, well, it's about time they recognized talent. So I climbed up front, did an unsolicited pre-flight safety briefing for all the passengers, and buckled in. And in case you were wondering, yes, we flew right off of the runway cliff, but it was awesome. The pilot was super cool and seemed to enjoy chatting, but every time I'd say something to him, he'd take his hand off the controls and focus on our conversation. So ultimately, I thought it would be better to shut the hell up for the rest of the flight. And here we are, the two brave captains, back at the Philip Goldson International Airport, full of helpful signs. And that concludes another successful trip.